All right, we're up. We're here. Uh, Welcome to a special Nerds in the Dark nerd table discussion. I'm Mikey, and I'm joined uh, with Gia, who has appeared many times along with us in stream, but never is in a Nerds in the Dark like discussion. Hi, Gia.
Hi. And you know what's wild is I'm looking at the stream and everything, and you and Maddist are perfectly clear, and I'm just like blurred out. It's like I'm
It
pixelated because
it
I
just
censored
started doing that. I don't know.
it. Don't like me.
Yeah.
Like on the Discord, it's still good, but on the stream, it's just like we need to censor this
It
chick.
on my Discord it looks pixelated right now. And it was funny cuz like when you first joined in I was like, "Wow, your camera looks so clear." And just all of a sudden it's just like, "Ooh." Uh
It
uh,
just doesn't want me to take away the shine from y'all.
yeah. Also joining us is Matt. Matt has been with Nerds in Dark for a very long time, but this is his first time in stream outside of appearing in that one D&D video. So, Matt, how are you
Yeah,
doing?
I'm doing all right, and I'm excited about this conversation.
Okay.
Wait. I forgot y'all did D&D videos.
We did a video where we were like making our characters, but we haven't actually done a D&D video yet. Because we need a DM. We just we wanna play, but we don't know enough people that play that can be DMs. We are
So,
super excited to play.
Whip out my Pathfinder book and destroy y'all's lives.
so we're hiring. That's what we're saying. If anybody out there is an experienced DM and will work for free in company,
See, I
we're
was
here.
just about to say I'd do it, but for like 10 cookies a month. And you just said for free, so now I can't offer my services.
Girl, I will ship you cookies.
Mikey will be taking care of our payments.
There we go.
Man.
All right.
Here's a 20 cookie down payment. Fine, leave the door cracked.
So I know that anyone watching can see what the discussion's about today, but it's about the possible end of theaters. So the world as we know it is kind of changing. The landscape's changing. We have a lot of shifting situations, and theaters haven't been open for a couple months. And some of us are wondering whether or not it's an industry that can recover. So, does anyone want to dive in with how often they watch movies or what their current level of theater engagement is?
Well, so honestly, for me, having a 7-year-old to be able to use as my cannon fodder as to why I go see kids' movies now, that was probably like the best thing about having a kid. I actually do go to see major releases of the Disney films and the Pixar films when they come out, and sometimes, I mean, just the timing doesn't work out for it, and I wait for it to come out on DVD. But I feel like I was a little bit sad because even before COVID happened, we had an incident with trying to watch Onward in theaters where something happened with the projectors, and like we sat there for almost an hour and the movie still wasn't playing. So I have like a free pair of tickets sitting on my dresser over here. But like not even a week after that, it went to you being able to purchase it online, and then from there it went to like being free on Disney Plus. So it's not like we really missed out, and then we were able to sit in the comfort of our own home, you know, eating snacks that don't cost $1 million to watch a movie. And I actually spent less, honestly, than I would have going to a theater to watch the same movie.
Okay, okay. Uh,
Onward was my last movie too, before the theaters closed. And it was ironic because like Mikey complained to me the whole time saying, "You're gonna be able to watch this at home in like 2 weeks. Why are you gonna spend money on this?" He called it.
yeah. I actually, so Matt and I have a very similar history when it comes to movies, because we grew up together, and we most of high school we would just go to theater all the time, but we also found our way into getting pre-screening tickets all the time. So that's how we got into the business of like reviewing movies and really going through a bunch of movies because we see so many movies before they're even released, and now that's something that's probably possibly going to completely go away if theaters go away. Um, and so we see movies that we don't even necessarily want to see, just because we get the tickets.
Yeah,
So we go way too often to the theater.
it was we graduated. We started from like Friday releases, and then we started going to matinees on Saturday morning if you made it to the theater before like noon. Tickets were only like $4, and then finally they were like, "Hey, we'll give them to you for free, but you have to be one of the first people in line." We milked that. We did it as early as often as possible, even for like chick flicks or horror movies that we weren't really interested in. We were like the first people in line, just so
Yeah.
they would continue sending us free tickets.
So,
So
like, on the opposite side of the spectrum, I grew up really poor. So, like, I'm not sure. I can't remember. I think you guys are like in the northwest side of Chicago, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
give or take. So I grew up on the south side in like the Chicago Heights area, and in Park Forest specifically, they had this theater that played old school movies. So like growing up, that was pretty much, unless it was just like some super special release. Like I got to see Pokemon the first movie in theaters. I got to see the like prequels for Star Wars in theaters. A couple other movies in theaters, but for the most part, it was going to the old school playback theater, paying $1.50 to see a movie that may have came out the year before or 2 years prior. So when I became an adult, I was just like, heck yeah, I can go to all the movies because I'm in the army and I actually have money now.
that's
Oh yes.
that's actually hilarious. We used to go to this theater. It's changed hands recently, and it's a very different atmosphere now. We used to go to this theater called Logan Theater on the northwest side, and that was a theater that was like, it was like $3 to go to the theater, and we'd see old movies. That place was so like run down, and it was like we would sit there and they'd be like have rats run over our feet, but we were watching a really cheap movie.
I remember I got my first apartment by that theater purposely because I was like I could see a movie like almost every day for $3. Why not?
Yeah.
And I remember one of the worst movies I saw there was probably Lord of the Rings, and it's not because of the movie, but the fact that we had to sit on those hardwooden chairs for 3+ hours, and all of us barely could walk out of the theater. The whole theater was like limping out. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been super rough.
Yeah, so we have a history of being like big like movie buffs, and we love going to the movies. And so we've been having our own discussions with other people online, and just amongst ourselves, where we're talking about like what's going to happen with these theaters, because they're bleeding money right now. They can't have people in there,
Yeah.
and even if they could reopen tomorrow, they can't go full capacity. So is there a chance for them to recover?
I think if they did recover, it would take a very long time. But honestly, I see theaters going the way that drive-ins went, where maybe there still are some that, can make some profits, but I really feel like up until like the whole, I don't know, scare with coronavirus and COVID goes away, and at this point it's I think what epidemic, endemic, one of the two means that basically it's just a yearly recurring thing. So I guess once we get vaccines for it, things will start opening back up like normal. But I think honestly that could take a year, 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and at that point, companies probably aren't going to want to push their movie through a theater that can only have like a third of the capacity that they would normally have. That means that like the theater and the movie companies are losing money at that point, because the tickets account for the overhead that the theater has to pay in order to run those movies in the theaters, on top of their own fees for I don't know, having the people come through to clean after the movie's over. And then like the whole sanitation, like tickets are probably going to skyrocket if they do open back up for the small amount of people that they would have, because now they have to do extra cleaning, they have to actually sanitize in between movies. This means also that the theaters are probably going to be shut down for more than like 15 minutes between films for them to do a thorough cleaning. So there's just a lot to take in with it, and I think, as I said in the beginning of my statement, is it's just going to end up becoming like drive-ins. Like, yeah, they're there, But if people can just do the stuff at home, they're just going to do the stuff at home.
Do you think theaters suffered a large amount of backlash with the whole mask dispute? Like at first they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna reopen our doors. You're not gonna have to wear a mask or anything like that." But then like the internet pretty much attacked AMC, and now they're withdrawing that statement and putting them saying, "Oh, masks are required now." Do you think that sort of backlash would ruin the theater's credibility, like lose people, like customers?
I think that really, honestly, in my opinion, depends on like where that theater is. Because, like, for instance, I live in California now, and California doesn't play those games. Like,
Hmm.
they're not going to let places open up if they don't adhere to, the guidance that the state governor put down. So, if, needing to wear masks is a thing, AMC wouldn't be able to get away with that here. They would probably, fluff their chest out a bit, but then the state would just be like, ha, okay, that's cool, but you're not opening then.
Yeah, I feel like there's gonna be some people who won't go just because they need to wear masks. But I think that it's exactly as Gia said, that even if even with reduced capacity, there's still gonna be some people who aren't going to be comfortable going. And I think that it's a very tough uphill battle for theaters. Masks, no masks, whatever. Like, and I think that unless there's a vaccine where people are no longer worried about this, you're just going to have a lot less people going, and there's going to be trouble, I think.
I mean, you can even take a look at like Disney right now, because I think Disney World, I don't remember which one's in Florida, but they opened up, and obviously, like a lot of people were just like, "Wow, how dare you do this?" Because we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Well, they noticed that people weren't wanting to go, and like the people that were going, it was such a small amount of them that honestly, I feel like it doesn't even account for the daily operating costs that amusement park would have. And I feel like that would just be the same thing with the theaters. It just wouldn't be worth it in the end to still run movies until more people can show up.
Right, right.
I
Um,
agree.
Now, did you guys read this news coming out about the Paramount decree being overturned?
Yes.
Now that
Yep.
that was pretty wild for anybody who didn't hear about that. There's this old like antitrust decree that was built out that said that studios uh, can't own theaters, and that they can't do certain practices like block booking. And block booking is the practice of selling a license as part of a block. Like, hey, do you want that new Avengers movie? Well, great, you can get that, but you also have to buy like Shrek the Third, Star Wars like Christmas special, and this other movie that nobody else is gonna see. And
Happily ever after.
yeah, so when studios would do that, it would force these theaters to purchase licenses for movies that no one's going to watch. Like, yeah, they're going to put it on a screen, but no one's going to show up. And they basically overturned that, which means that now theaters can force these things. There's a 2-year hiatus on it going into effect, but basically after 2 years, these studios can now start doing block booking, and they can now start owning theaters, which I think is really bad for the small theaters.
I feel like it's really bad even for some of the bigger theaters, because if you have Warner Bros. Like basically getting all the Regals, well now those theaters can't make money off of the Marvel movies because that belongs
Mhm.
to Disney.
Mhm.
So I think it wouldn't be
Exclusive.
as bad of a blow for the larger chains because there's just so many of them. But yeah, it would definitely be devastating for the small ones if all they could play was like one good movie and have just like a bunch of trash tier movies because they were forced to take on 3 to 4 other films
Yeah.
just to be able to have rights to and licensing to play the popular one.
Yeah, I think it was a huge blow to theaters. Like, on top of everything else, because including video on demand, we haven't even really touched on video on demand, how that's going to hurt the industry. But on top of that, you now have this new thing that says, like, hey, by the way, these big studios, like Disney's going to strong arm you now. because they can, because they're Disney. Like, it's it feels like it's just another blow after they can't even sell shit right now.
You gotta remember though, these studios need to make money somehow, and they're not. Their opportunity right now is not working out. So, I think they're just trying anything.
I think even with that it's also I can't think of the word right now, but basically some of the theaters are doing well because they have made such a name for themselves that at the end of the day, so going back to Onward, for instance, Mikey and I had a mutual friend of ours, and he and I were kind of discussing the theater issue, and he made a comment about how Onward flopped. And I had to disagree with him because when you think about how long Onward was in theaters, how they only really accounted for DVD and I think it was like DVD and Blu-ray sales. They didn't account for digital sales of the movie. And the fact that it was only about 2 to 3 weeks that this movie was making, I wouldn't say passive, but it was just making money on the fact of people buying tickets. It still made 111 million dollars. And when you think about how long other Pixar movies had in theaters, like they had the full couple of month run, you have movies like Coco that brought in 800 million, right? And that's across like people being able to buy the DVDs, buy the Blu-rays, go and see it in theaters. I don't think it's, you know, too much of a difference to think that this movie specifically made 100 million in about 3 weeks, whereas those movies made, you know, 800 million over the course of, you know, 5 to 6 times that amount of time. And then to top that off, Disney was just like, okay, cool, let's just put it straight on Disney Plus. And you have to think about it, even if it's only cents on the dollar that movie would technically be making on that subscription, it's still making money at this point, because if people are going specifically just to watch that movie, then, you know, their $7 specifically is going straight to that. But then this also segues straight into what Disney is doing with Mulan, for instance, because it can't be in theaters right now, and they're trying to make their money back on it. Now they're charging that premium access fee of $30. But it's wild because it's not a rental, but you don't own the movie either. It's for as long as you have the subscription to Disney Plus, which, you know, most people are going to keep their subscription forever.
Right.
That you own this movie. And honestly, I feel like in, you know, 6 months to a year, when it would normally go on video, it's going to be the same thing where, you know, it's going to be free on Disney Plus now. So everybody that's paying for it when it first comes out, for me, it would end up being cheaper than me and my whole family going to the theaters. It would be about $15 cheaper ticket-wise. And then to top that off, I get to watch it at home, and then I could just wait, honestly, like 7 months for it to become free on the service, or I can just buy a copy of it on Amazon and just own it forever. So there's a lot of wild things going on with the whole theaters being closed and things moving to an online format to kind of combat that, to make their money back.
Yeah. So I think that there's a lot that kind of ties into that. Like, so one thing for sure is that we kind of like have a frame of reference for like how long it's allowed to be before like a theater can have, or like how long a theater can have a movie like exclusively before it can start appearing anywhere else. I think it was originally a set amount of days. I know it was cut to 75 days, and then more recently was cut to 45 days. So theaters even now they're holding these movies
Brandon,
less
if you're
and
gonna make
less.
noise, you need to get out.
Yeah. And I think it was one of those things where you look at the difference. you look at the different time frames that they have, what they allow, and I think that Disney's thing, it sounds kind of wild because it's a movie and it's the first time we're seeing this really for a movie, but it's not different from what we've had in like EULAs before. Like if we look at like, you know, like Amazon, like you don't own your Kindle books, you know what I mean? Like
license.
Right. And you know, people were complaining about that back in the day, but enough of us let it slide that it's like, well, now that's the standard. And so if you start applying that to movies and like, hey, do we own these movies? It's like, now we got a license, and now it's tied to a sub,
But
versus a rental.
even
It's
arguing
like
that point,
music
I
too.
feel, yeah, I feel like for the Kindle books, yes, it's similar, but at the end of the day, I can just disconnect my Kindle from the internet, and it's not like they can take those books back from me because it's no longer on
Yeah,
the net, you know?
yeah,
So, like, I don't own it, but I still own it. Whereas if I were to get rid of my subscription to Disney, now I can't watch that movie again
right,
unless
right.
I resubscribe or I, buy the movie outright, buy the license, I'm sorry, license for the movie. And even then, like, when we talk about licensing, just because you buy a movie for personal use doesn't mean you can play it like at a school. Because I learned that working at a college, that if I wanted to play like a movie that was relevant to sculpture, I had to go and buy a separate license, because when you buy a movie for home viewing, you're not showing hundreds of people that movie. You're showing
Right.
like, whoever's in your household. And when it becomes a thing when you're showing like people that aren't part of your household, now it's a whole different license. So that's a whole different ball game too. Like, so
Yeah.
if anybody was to, have their Disney Plus up, and technically if they played it at like a middle school, because, I want to play Lilo and Stitch for the kids, technically they're breaking the law because they need to have gone to buy a separate license to be able to do that.
Yeah,
And like that's getting into a whole nother like can of worms.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Now, so an argument that I heard that's pretty relevant to this is that when we talk about like the $30 for the rental, right, or $30 for the ability to see it versus it being available on stream, we talk about Blu-rays. You can buy a Blu-ray 4K, $30, and you can watch that as many times as you want, and you own that. There's no taking that away from you. So the difference now is time. It's the $30 worth the time, knowing that we now have possibly a 45-day lead. Like as little as a 45-day lead.
So for me personally, I'm going to pay the money because I feel like it deserves the money. Because that was another argument that was had, is like, oh, well, doing this will start a paywall for other movies coming out on streaming or shows coming out on streaming. And I had to disagree there, because if Disney or any other company wanted to do this, all of the stuff that's made for streaming would already be behind a separate paywall than, the $7 or $5 or whatever you pay for your
Mm-hmm.
subscription.
Yeah.
But then that leads me into Lady and the Tramp was a live action movie that literally was made for Disney Plus, and when Disney Plus became available, you were able to start watching it. And that's the argument I used, is the live action Lady and the Tramp was actually really good and you didn't have to pay extra to see it. But I feel like if movies are meant for a theatrical release, then of course it's going to be behind an extra fee if you want to watch it right away when it would normally come out, versus waiting, the extra bit of time for it to just go. Because most people, not even wanting to say most people, some people do wait until stuff becomes available on DVD, because
Sure,
I can
sure.
just buy a $20 DVD. It might not be as good quality as my Blu-ray or the ultraviolet code that I can buy for it, but I can still watch it, And I feel like for me personally, I'm going to buy the $30 paywall premium access because I want them to have the monetary support. And I feel like enough Disney fans, and even people that aren't Disney fans, like some people are probably just going to get a Disney Plus subscription just to watch that movie and then cancel it at the end of the month. So,
And even that's like not really unreasonable if you add in the $7 to watch Disney Plus and the $30. That's still just about the same price as going to the theater. Plus, you have a month of watching whatever else you want. It's kind of worth it. Except now we have the question: if theaters do go away, then there are no longer movies that are meant for theatrical release. Theaters
Yep.
don't exist. So does this now become a new normal?
well, I
Yeah.
feel like. Well, go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry. I just keep like talking. I do that a lot.
No, you're okay. You have a lot to say. I could see all the pent-in anger.
I have a lot of.
Yeah. So as someone who's already been streaming Netflix, and then I'm also on Vudu too, and me and Mikey had this sort of conversation right when everything started going down. He sent me an article showing that movies were coming straight to VOD, but they were a higher price and they were only rentals for 48 hours. And I did pose the opinion. I was like, first off, I don't have to drag my family to a theater. Secondly, the snacks are technically free because they're in my cabinets. Like, and it would be a lot cheaper than buying theater food. Like, there's a lot of pros to this. I don't have to get dressed. I can watch it anytime. And then not only that, they give you like a 48-hour window to watch these movies. So it's like, if I can't hear it the first time, or if I need to rewind it to rehear a part or catch a scene, then or pause the movie because I have to run to the
Or is
bathroom.
that closed captioning right away?
Or closed
Oh, yeah.
captioning. That was a big one too in theaters. If you're in a theater with a lot of kids or a big crowd, you can't hear half the stuff that's going on. So I saw a lot of like positives in this more than negatives. Thing is, it does take away from that movie theater experience. You can't hear the crowd's reaction or get popcorn or anything. But still, like,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm an introvert to the core, so not hearing the crowd's reaction is not a deterrent for me at all. That's actually a plus. Because I don't know how many times, like, I think School of Rock was the only movie in theater that I appreciated somebody talking, and it's because it was a scene where Jack Black was like, "Your kids have touched me," and then he was just like, "I didn't mean it like that," and somebody like said something right on the timing for it. But that's literally the only time I've ever appreciated people talking in a film. And that was years. I was in high school when that movie came out.
So,
That's-
so fun fact, just related to that movie. Did you know that everybody in that movie in the credits scene had their own solo except for the bassist?
Not know that.
The bassist was cut out. Like, they filmed a solo, they just didn't put it in.
That's rude.
Yeah. That was just a random fun fact related to that movie. So back on track though, I do enjoy going to the theater. I would much prefer to go to the theater when there's less people there, but I don't like to go to the theater alone. I always like to have somebody come with me so we can like discuss the movie afterwards. And so
My dad, right after.
like, and then much of the reason that like much of me going to the theaters and going to like early releases and pre-screenings and stuff like that, it's mostly to avoid spoilers. So if I could watch the movie at home, you know, in my own comfort, like, I mean, it's going to be no different to me than when I'm watching like Game of Thrones and I'm just like live tweeting and running group chats with people where I'm just like, yo, you see this shit? So
we
it's,
don't have to get it all at the same time.
I mean, we can all press play at the same time, man. We can just go like 8 o'clock. Let's go.
Yeah, what Tino does with his anime dates with his new friends.
Oh, has he actually had one of those successful yet? Because I know he keeps talking about setting them up.
I think he had one, but yeah.
That would be like the next step though for theaters, doing like a Let's Watch and get a group of people to purchase this movie. So, and you guys be in a private chat to like converse during the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if they actually sold a working, like, did you guys try Netflix Party? Like, so Netflix Party is like, it's like a browser extension you can use and you can invite people to. It puts a little chat on the side and everybody starts the movie at the same time and like syncs it up. So like one person running it can like pause and start it, and then everyone else, like, they log in with their own Netflix and it just syncs it up and they can chat on the side. If they had a
That's
working
awkward.
version of that, like if Netflix had an official working version where it's like, yo, you can add friends and stuff like that and you just watch, same way that like a Facebook watch party works, except actually have it be decent. Like, that shit would make money.
Pretty decent. I was unaware that Netflix Party existed until you just said that. But then again, I'm that Forever Alone friend, and I do watch stuff forever alone. So I probably wouldn't have looked for a way to do like a watch party. Like, even when people do those dumb watch parties, okay, they're not dumb, but the watch parties on Facebook, I see that stuff happen. I'm like, nah, I don't want to be in a chat with a bunch of people, like, just watching what they have to say about it. I'm good. but that's really awesome for people that would want to, like, you know, watch with their family. Like, for instance, I wouldn't mind watching movies with my mom and dad back home, and with stuff going digital, we can literally, as Matt said, you can press play at the same time. I could just set up a date with my mom and dad, and, you know, we could just have the phone between us while we're watching this movie. And we, like, honestly, when I was deployed and even when I was in Korea, sometimes we did that for shows. Like, it would be on Netflix, and we'd just be like, all right, let's watch this thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, even just like, let's say, you know, right now, like FaceTiming and watching something. You know, you
I'd
guys.
be the worst person to do a watch party though, because everyone would be texting me, "Did you see that?" or something, and then at the end of the movie, I'm like, "Oh, I just missed all these messages. I'm sorry. Yes, I saw that," and trying to respond to everybody. It'd be so awkward.
I mean,
But
didn't you just tell me that you missed a bunch of messages?
yep,
Yeah.
I did.
Called out.
Yeah, like it's 100% accurate. Like,
Yep, I'm sure. I'm being real here.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's fair. I do, I like it's as long as I can chat separately. Like I'm cool watching Game of Thrones on the PC, you know, and you know, messaging on my phone. The only thing is that like doing it as like a watch party, I'd probably chat way less, just because I know that like when I'm live tweeting stuff out, I'm not live tweeting it out. I fucking pause that shit so I can make my meme.
Crazy.
You're gonna be the first person out with that meme.
I mean, you know, just
You're not wrong, because I can post anything and Mikey will have a meme literally within 10 seconds of me posting it. So.
I do like make memes like on the spot. I'm like, oh, I know the perfect meme for this, and then I just start building it, and I'm like, boom, and I threw your face in there.
You know, you just brought up another interesting point. What if like people start pirating movie? Because piracy is going to be high if they were able to watch it on their computers. They could record
People were
it.
pirating stuff anyway in theaters. We all have the bootleg version of some kind of movie where someone stands up in front of the camcorder that someone haphazardly snuck into the theater. I think they'd have clearer bootlegs now, but
So I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, but I actually don't have those anymore. I don't do those. I have to have a certain.
oh, so you did them.
Yeah, in the past. So here's the thing, right? I have this, like, I have terrible mindsets, and for me it reminds me of my history and like when I used to be poor, and I'm just like, there are like good bootlegs exist. Like, you don't have to have somebody walk across the screen. I'm like, no, that's for poor people. I will get the good bootleg.
One of the
Dude,
then.
we were so poor that we were going to this video store and offering to do chores around the store so they'd give us free rentals.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
I remember that. Yeah, yeah.
Shoveling
That
snow or
neighborhood
cleaning the
wouldn't have
parking
ever
lot.
taken that. They would have been like, "Nah, you probably gonna steal something. Get out of here."
Oh no, that guy, so okay, so we were in a bad neighborhood. We were in a poor neighborhood, and that dude was like, he was pretty mean. Like, he would take advantage of the labor, and he'd be like, yeah, take that movie. But like some days, like, I think it was, I don't remember if it was Matt or his brother that like reached over the counter for the remote control to change what was on the TV hanging off the ceiling, and like he grabbed him. And I remember that was like a thing, because he had a hand that wasn't like you ever watch Scary Movie 2?
This hand.
Yeah, the
Whatever.
strong hand. He
Is
had
that
the
like
strong
fourth
hand.
one? I don't know.
The second one.
Yeah, it's in the second one. And
I
so
can't remember all those movies melded together.
the dude at the place, he grabbed this guy with the strong hand, and it was just something that sticks out in my memory. Like, I'm not trying to be like ableist or anything. It's just like that just sticks out in my head. I don't remember if that was Matt or his brother.
It was me. I'll give you some background on this video store though. I used to work at Target, and I used to see the owner there on every Tuesday morning buying a stack of movies, and this is what he was putting out in this video store to rent out. So after he would bring the stack back and stuff like that. We would go to the video store after work and try to rent out those movies because we knew they were in stock. And so like one day we were waiting for him, and the remote was sitting on the desk, and I reached over to grab it, and I accidentally pressed the channel up, and then I don't know if it was porn channel, but there's something inappropriate on the TV. And the man behind the counter got so mad that he tried to grab me with a strong hand and try to twist my arm. And I was like, "What are you doing?" Like freaking out because of the hand. And I was like trying to pull back, and I didn't want to like hurt the guy because I didn't know like the extent of his disability. And so I just pulled back, and he's like, "You're not allowed back in this video store ever again." And that's when we stopped getting free movies from there.
All because of wanting to change the channel.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought that y'all were trying to like get into the cash register. I don't know.
No,
Sounds like he's extra though.
He was extra.
Yeah, he was pretty extra, you know. But it just is. It is what it is. But you know, I think that so that puts us a little bit back on topic because you know, video stores, you know, a lot of people thought rental places were too big to fail, right? That was like a whole industry that wasn't going to go away.
Didn't the last Best Buy, I believe, that was in Alaska closed down a couple years ago.
Blockbuster.
Yep, because I have a T-shirt. My friend worked at that one, and he sent me a shirt from them, and it's like my Blockbuster shirt literally says like "The Last Frontier" on the back, and I always thought that was clever because it was like the last ones. Right?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it was closed. So
that's where they're going. They're going into merchandise now. They're trying to sell their logos off. But they had the chance for VOD, and they dropped the ball on it, and then they tried to get onto it way after everything was said and done.
Yeah.
VOD's not gonna go anywhere. What? Online rentals? That's crazy.
Yep. And
that's
now
the same thing with Toys R Us.
Yep.
Toys R Us was like, "I'm gonna sell through Amazon. Amazon, you could say you're selling them the toys, but don't tell them it's us because we're not gonna go anywhere." And then Toys R Us ended up losing the online sales.
Same thing with EB Toys.
Yep.
Man.
So I mean, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
You know, so
Convenient.
so I mean, I think, you know, I'm just gonna throw it out there, and I know that some people are gonna disagree with me. Some people have disagreed with me, very, very like vehemently disagreed with me. But I think theaters are going away. I think that it's gonna be VOD services. Is gonna be the new normal. Maybe not this year, but I think it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Think you're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to be wrong. I do actually. I love theaters. I love the experience of going a giant ass screen, dope audio. You ever been in a D-box theater where they have like the fucking vibrating seats? That shit's amazing.
So I actually got to experience 4D before it ever came to America, and that's because in Korea they like test all the technological advances.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to have that gross smelling water sprayed in my face that was supposed to like make you think that you're going on a roller coaster going through water or something. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, so like seeing all that stuff and like how much and like the 3D stuff, like I can't do 3D myself because of my astigmatism. Even if I have my glasses on, it still gives me headaches. But like all of the advances that they've had, and I honestly like I think that if it doesn't go away completely, it's going to be just like drive-in movies. It'll be a novelty at that point. I mean, more so than it already is. Like people are gonna go only if they really, really, really want to see, you know, X, Y, or Z movie really large with really good audio.
Yeah, that I can see that happening and being like the new normal as well, but I don't know. I don't see a good path for recovery that doesn't involve being bought out and like having like Disney theaters and Universal theaters, you know. And then it's just like it kind of sucks. Like right now, like I think any one of us right now, you have a theater that you like to go to and a theater you don't like to go to. And like If that's the case, what happens if the theater that you like to go to doesn't get the movies you want to go to? Like,
It
Yeah.
would be just like I do now. I just watch it at home.
I
3
mean,
months after your friend's already seen it.
yeah.
You
Oh,
know how good I am at ducking and diving and avoiding people? Ask Mikey.
but you also like, I don't know how you could do it because like you live in Spoiler City.
I do.
Like I think everyone and their mother tries to spoil things in that group.
So, I admin in a nerd group, and I used to admin in several nerd groups, but all of my energy goes to this one specific nerd group now. And we have spoiler rules set up. And honestly, spoilers don't bother me too much. I don't care if I read a spoiler. Like, I think if someone intentionally spoils something for me, I get really mad.
Hmm.
But you do have people that try to intentionally spoil things for people, and that's why we had to start putting post approvals on, because people couldn't be trusted to just follow the rules. And I would get tagged in on things because someone posted a spoiler to like a new movie, and we have like a week ban on it before you can start talking. That way it gives people a chance to watch it, or shows or games. And I'm the one, honestly, that like when a new movie comes out, I'll be the admin there approving things because the other admins don't want to accidentally see a spoiler. And for me, even if it like seems like it could be a spoiler, it could be a fake as hell spoiler, and I'll have already watched the movie and I know it's fake. I'll still delete it and mute people. Like, I don't care because
Yeah.
it's wild. But yeah, that group gets really bad about it, really bad.
And some people get wild mad in that group.
How dare you say that we gotta wait 3 days for this show? If they can't binge watch it the first day it's out, they don't belong in here. They shouldn't be a part of the fandom. Like, whew.
And then like God forbid a spoiler gets through. Oh my God, they blow up. Like I saw somebody post up a fake spoiler. Like it wasn't even like a fake spoiler. They posted a photo from an old Ninja Turtles screenshot and then posted it as if it was a spoiler for a new thing. And I know it was like approved because they're like, well, this isn't true, so it's not really a spoiler. And then like some dude got wild mad in that group. He was like, how dare you? Y'all wrong for this one.
Turned to full southern drawl on.
Yeah. But it just ended up being like a big thread, and everybody's like, get your baby ass out of here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I won't lie. I'll be the first one to be in there telling people they're being childish. So.
I mean, someone's got to do it. Like, I don't think.
Was it you that made that meme, or was it Robert Pettis that made the Baba Yagia one?
Oh, that was me.
Freaking kill me, and it pops up still. Still, it pops up.
I'm surprised that people saved it. I didn't know people saved it. I was going through a thread randomly, and someone put it up there. I was like, oh shit, this still exists.
One of my family members was like, "Wow, you get memed a lot," and I was just like, "Yeah, I couldn't tell you, like."
Yo, that's what happens when you're like constantly the bad guy in these threads. And but you kind of do it to yourself too, though, because you like post pictures of your fists in a box, like these are E for everyone. I'll ship them everywhere.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong.
It makes it like super easy to be like, okay, yeah, we'll make memes out of this shit. But I think we kind of like covered everything here. Do you guys have any final thoughts on this?
I think I've given all my opinions.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss a lot of movies this year that were supposed to be in theaters.
Yeah. Wonder Woman in 1984. Still waiting on that.
Can't wait for that one to drop on
Yeah.
VOD so I can just buy it.
Yep.
Black Widow.
Here's the thing, honestly, like DC Extended, like or DC Online, whatever. I hate the idea of it in general. Like, and I can't get behind it. Just something that's only DC stuff. Cause like Disney, it's Disney, but it's everything Disney owns. You know what I mean? Like, so you're like, okay, I there's a little bit of room. Like, if there was a Warner Brothers one, with everything Warner Brothers owned, that'd be a different story. But instead, it's just DC.
Yeah,
Say.
DC has a lot though.
Yeah, DC has a lot of animated stuff, a lot of live action. I will 100% say that I have a DC online that I rarely look at, but
Yeah.
I watch the Harley Quinn or cartoon, and I watch Young Justice, and I watch all of those things. I haven't watched Titans, and I don't want to. Like, it didn't appeal to me at all. People are like, "Oh, it's actually secretly good." And I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
DC was doing so strongly that they licensed like 75% of their library out to HBO Max.
mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, that's the thing.
and so it's just like, okay, cool, like that's the thing, and that's why I'm like, okay, well, why do I get this? Because now because HBO's cheap and has a lot of fucking content, and now all of DC's, like, well, not all of it, because you can't. I think they locked Titans and Swamp Thing, and Harley Quinn, so they got 3 shows for me to pay an extra.
Stargirl too, or is Stargirl on HBO also?
You're gonna have me look up HBO Max.
I'm sorry.
Let me look it up.
Get them Google fingers going.
Man, I'm just pulling up HBO Max.
I mean,
Let's see.
I won't lie. Whenever I need to pull up a specific thing, I still Google that specific thing, then click.
No, Stargirl isn't on there. Oh, they just added Harley Quinn. So they're not even hiding Harley Quinn behind the paywall.
I mean, it's still behind a paywall, just not.
Yeah.
You know, you going to DC's specific streaming paywall.
But it's like, yo.
HBO, I would assume, how much money did they get out of that licensing deal then? Because I would assume it would be a whole lot of money.
And it's so the thing is, like, all of the DC animated movies are here. I don't know. I don't know if it's all of them, but all the new ones. You know what I mean? All the ones that you'd expect to be behind the paywall.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Plus, like, all the Batman movies, like every Batman movie, like all of the DC movies. So, like, okay. You know, the Teen Titans movie, Teen Titans show, like, fuck, man. There's so much here. You're just like, what's left on DC? Stargirl and Titans are probably the only 2 things. And Swamp Thing.
Is Black Lightning on it?
Black Lightning's
Black Lightning?
not on here, but it is on Netflix.
Because I know it was CW, and then I think I remembered it going to Netflix, so... Man, DC's just licensing everybody, like, hey, pay me all the money so you can play my shows.
But I think, like, once you start getting to that point, it's like, well, if I can find your stuff on other things that I own, why would I buy your thing? I already have the other things.
Well, here's the subscriptions I have. I have Funimation, I've got DC, I've got Disney Plus. Honestly, I have Disney Plus right now because it came free with my Verizon. Because they made some deals, so you get a year free on that, and I'm gonna renew it and just pay the yearly, whatever. And I have Netflix. And I think every blue moon I'll get Hulu again for like 5 minutes so that I can watch some One Punch Man subtitled, and then I just drop it again. So I have like a million emails just to get the 7-day free trial for Hulu, and then I cancel.
Nah, okay, I'm rocking. Let's count them out. I got Netflix, I got Hulu, I got HBO, I got Prime, I have
Prime too, but I don't count that as like separate.
Watch it, so
yeah.
I mean, so I had Prime for the shipping, and then the video just came with it.
I mean, that's fair. I have YouTube Premium. I have Verve. I don't have Funimation, but I have access to Funimation. I'm just not paying for it.
I had, but honestly, not paying for it only took away commercials. So
yeah.
Paying for it, yeah.
Hulu, Disney Plus, like, I'm paying for so much shit. Which is also why I'm like, so I'm not a person who's like, yo, pirate shit, but I'm also like, if you don't have a way to watch it, then absolutely, I think piracy is kind of forgivable. Like, if you don't make it easy, then someone's gonna steal it.
I mean, You're not
Pretty
wrong.
much, yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah, like I was sitting there, was like, yo, I got 8 streaming services, and if I can't find it, like I don't remember what it was. It was like a few years ago. I was like, oh, I want to watch Beer Fest, and I was like, I have every streaming service that's available right now. Like, let me just pull up Beer Fest, and it was like nothing had it, and I was like, okay, torrent it is. I mean, I got the DVD probably right behind me, right here, but it's like, no, I want to watch it on my computer.
Yeah, I rent movies or buy them straight out, like the digital versions, so
Mhm.
that I don't have to like hook anything up that I don't, need to.
Yeah, but
I
yeah,
also have those ones that I don't have a stable relationship with, like Stars. I'll get it just to see what movies are on there that I want to watch. And then if I don't like it, I'll cancel it like a day or two later. Be like, yep, day here, you're useless to me. Let's get rid of it.
oh,
I remember
jeez.
back in the day, I used to do Stars and Cinemax just for like Bubblegum Crisis and animes like that, because I think those were the channels that specifically had like Devilman back in the day and that Bubblegum Crisis and a couple other things.
Yeah, you couldn't watch that shit. Like, it needed adult channels.
Yep.
But nowadays you pull up Crunchyroll, and it's just like, you want to watch people get beheaded right before having sex? Like,
Oh gosh.
Pretty much.
but like that shit is for real on like the Netflix and the Crunchyroll anime. Like, it's
I
just
feel
like,
you need
yeah.
to take off the family friendly tag at this point.
Oh my God. I mean,
After dark.
This is it's turned into
It's-
Nerds in the Dark After Dark.
oh my God, that's. I mean, I didn't mean for that. You know.
Have your kids leave the room if there's kids watching.
They're gonna be like, "What? Crunchyroll?"
All right, but real talk, like one of the like Netflix has a Kamiga Kill, and if you like, that's not kid friendly at all.
No, but it's also not under the kids' side of
That's-
Netflix.
that's
and I know
true.
this.
That's true, but like it's funny because like I talked to Matt's kid, my niece Kayla, about anime sometimes, and he'll ask me, he's like, hey, so this one safe to watch? And I'm like, oh no.
So funny that you mentioned that. I came in her room last night and I was talking to her, and I saw her scrolling through Netflix, all these animes. I was like, man, Netflix got a lot more animes. And I started noticing the ratings on these movies, and I'm like, whose account are you on? And she's like, well, there weren't that many good ones under the kids' account, so I had to go under mom's account because mom's account has all the good movies. And I was like, done. And I'm like, which ones did you watch? And then she points out the innocent ones, like PG-13 ones. So I'm like, okay, that's good. And then immediately I'm like Googling how to block movies from mom that aren't suitable for kids, knowing that she accesses that account.
Jeez. Did you go
That's
through
been
like
started for my night last night.
did you
Just
go
get
through
her
like the
on
history?
Little Witch Academia. Like,
Oh yeah, dude, Little Witch Academia is so great.
She finished it. And
Did
it was
she?
funny
make her,
because I was
make her
one
watch
of
it
the
again. How old is she?
10.
Sweet, make her watch it again.
I remember her seeing. I was like, that one looks innocent because it's like the lowest rating one, and she's like, I've seen it already. So I'm like, oh damn it.
That's
Now I
probably
gotta
the
turn
thing,
on
is that she
something.
went through it all.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I'm a little scared.
Do
Well-
well, the Hedgerow? Heck yeah, let's watch it. Your daughter's about to be scarred.
oh my god, and that one's like front page too on Netflix.
Right?
Yeah, that one popped up real big for me on the recommended, and I was like, oh wait, isn't there a thing where like an alligator dude bites another dude's head off? Like, okay,
Lot that happens in there.
yeah.
Devilman Crybaby is not for your daughter. Before
I
she
did see that on the list too.
Are you looking through like the Netflix list right now?
Yeah, I was looking through and then my phone died on me.
Oh, no.
For like the last 30 minutes because I'm a terrible excuse for a human.
But like all the innocent ones, all of them with the low rating. She's like, I've seen that one, Whisker Away or something like that. That's about a cat who turns human or something like that. She's like, I seen it. The one that you guys just mentioned, I seen that one too. I'm like, okay, like.
Did she
and
watch
she goes to,
Carol and Tuesday yet?
I don't know. I didn't see that on the list yesterday.
Hold up. scroll through this Netflix. I mean, because there's a lot that aren't on the kids ones that are actually pretty good for kids too.
Yeah.
But obviously
I was
it's
trying
like
to get.
it's rated for older kids, but it's not really like A Silent Voice is pretty good. I can't remember if that's on Netflix or not, but it covers some like pretty rough like topics. Like at some point in the movie, one of the characters tries to kill herself because she thinks that she's like a burden on everybody.
Oh,
And she
Silent
ends up
Voice
being
is on there.
saved.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really good, but it has some topics like it's like if your daughter's not good with like some mature topics, it might be too much for her, you know. But
She's like one of the most mature people I know. I think she's
that
more
would be
mature than
perfect
me.
for her. She'll probably cry a little bit.
Kakaguri, just cut that right out. No
Yeah,
Kakaguri.
no Kakaguri.
So this was, now that we're on this topic too about animes and censorship. HBO Max does have Castle in the Sky studio. I forgot the name of it.
Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, Ghibli. And apparently those are censored against the kids' accounts, and I didn't see them as dark at all.
Some do have not really adult themes, but themes that aren't meant for like smaller kids.
Yeah.
So for instance, like Princess Mononoke is all about like people destroying the forest and the forest attacking back. And there are some rough parts, like someone gets their arm straight up like cut off, someone gets their arm bit off.
Yeah.
Main dude's like chucking arrows with like demon energy behind them, and it's like literally decapitating people. So like some of the movies do have like some really rough parts. I would say like Howl's Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro.
She watched it. She liked it.
Yeah, those ones are great for. We're not talking about that. Those Studio Ghibli movies are great. Spirited Away is great for kids.
Yeah.
That one even has some rough parts in it, but it's not like anything super bad.
Did you watch Avatar?
You mean like The Last Airbender?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think is
No, I don't know
Ponyo is Ponyo on Netflix? 'Cause that's another
No,
one.
but we have it on Voodoo, and she's watched it before. We sat and watched it. She likes it a
Yeah.
lot, actually. She's
I would say
There's
like
Mary and the Witch's Flower is good too.
uh
And that's made by that dude that split off from Studio Ghibli, but he worked with the dude for a while.
Legend of Korra is about to be added to Netflix.
Oof.
So if she finished Avatar, like that's a great one. Is Agretzko adult themed? I know that Agretzko is an adult. It says TV 14.
She is an adult, but no, it's not. It doesn't have like adult themes. It has like sticking up for yourself themes and like, yeah.
Yeah, Agretzko I heard a lot of good things about. I just haven't watched it.
Pretty good. The Dragon Prince is good.
Let me see what else is good.
I'm like scrolling through.
Yeah. We are really off the rails on this stream.
We are. It became something completely different.
It became kid-friendly anime recommendations. Oh my god.
Journeys is up on Netflix now too. That's pretty good. Cupcake and Dino. That's not really an anime, but that's good as heck. Probably one of my favorite things on Netflix. And like, yeah, and my son, he'll like, cause he knows I love it. He'll like put it on and he'll look at me. He's like, "Mommy, do you hear?" And all I hear is Cupcake and Dino, Cupcake and Dino. General Services. So
Your Lie in April's on Netflix. I didn't know that.
yeah, that one's really, really good, but it's really, really sad.
We went and
There was
we
like
saw.
Piano in the Forest is a good one too.
Is it more adult themed than oh shit, what's the one that we saw in the theaters, Matt? With the rain?
Weathering with You.
Weathering with You. Is it more or less adult than Weathering with You?
Which one? Your Lie in April?
Yeah.
Well, Your Lie in April is not so much that it's super adult, it's that one of the main characters, it's just very sad. I don't want to spoil anything about it. It's extremely sad.
Yeah. Weathering with You was very sad.
Yeah. So it's not like adult themes, but it's super sad.
Yeah, so I mean,
It was funny though with that because it was subtitled, so she didn't read the whole movie. She just watched the pictures, and there's a lot of adult things that were happening in it. And she's like, "I don't get it. Why are they laughing?" I'm like, oh, "You don't want to know. You'll find out when you're older."
um, has she
Soft
watched
think is good.
teasing Master Takagi-san?
Maybe.
Because
I wouldn't be surprised if she has.
that's TVPG, so it's got a low rating, and that one's really funny.
Like Evergarden.
I have a feeling
I
too.
always recommend. It is TV 14.
What was your feeling, Matt?
Okay, dude. Like I'm still in a podcast.
She probably has watched everything. Has watched it, given that it's like it was available on the kids stuff, and she ran out of idea. Ran out of shows to watch on the kids side.
So
Okay.
March comes in like a lion is good, but it's also like for slightly older kids. And Violet Evergarden is good. It's really sad and it has some like war themes behind it, but that's also pretty good.
Is Haikyuu good?
Yes, it is volleyball. It is 100% good for your kid.
That's TV 14, so it wouldn't be in the kids one. But there you go.
That one's it has like some teenage jokes in it, but it's really good. I was like binge watching it, and Bran was watching it with me, and Bran's 7, so
There you go. Now you got a bunch of recommendations, Matt. Not Hunter x Hunter.
no, not Hunter x Hunter at all.
It starts off with making you think it's kid friendly. It starts off that way, and then you get like 5 episodes in, and you're just like, why is this like clown the evil guy?
And why is he here harassing these kids? Oh my gosh.
And like, what's with his music?
Is One Piece on Netflix?
One Piece is on Netflix. Yeah.
I wouldn't. That's too. Honestly, I like One Piece, but it's too boring for a kid, especially in the first like couple story arcs. Like, it's funny to watch Luffy throw hands every 2 seconds, but it takes a lot to get into it.
So I can give you my Verve account, but I don't have any filters on there, so you'd have to police it.
And can you please stop yelling stuff? Seriously, I am in a podcast. Dude.
I did download Crunchyroll, and I was able to filter that out, but it's like there's not that much stuff that interests her on that.
Yeah, because like, well, Verve has a really giant library that includes Crunchyroll, but the problem is that there's no filters, and it's more than likely going to recommend the shit that I'm watching, which just makes me cry all the time from being too dark. Like, I'm watching ReZero right now, and ReZero is like the worst show.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't. No.
Yeah.
No fake shows.
Yeah.
For kids.
But I think this is probably a really good place to end it with like child-friendly anime recommendations because it's completely off topic, and I think we're good.
Well, I mean, it started to maybe we could have segued it into being on topic because anime films were finally being shown in theatrical releases. But
I know, I'm so mad about that.
Yeah.
Like, and like and they were doing well. Like Promare did really well. Konosuba did really well. My Hero did really well. Both My Hero movies did really well, and they were like hype. And even like Matt, you went to go see an anime movie in theater. I would not have expected that, but you did it. You brought your kid to a movie.
She wanted to see it for the record. It wasn't that bad. I don't watch a lot of anime, so that's why he's so surprised about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, she's into it.
I stopped in early '90s Dragon Ball and Pokemon. So
there's a whole new world for you to just get into and enjoy. That's all I heard.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to get sucked in. He's just I think at this point he's just like, I already don't have enough time.
Yeah, I'm so behind on TV. I'm on the Netflix page, and I'm like, damn, I want to watch this and this and this, and I'm like, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna have time to watch this.
I mean, I
A
was in
lot
the
of
middle of
stuff
doing other
is
stuff, and I just finished. I'm on the last episode right now of Umbrella Academy, so like, I stopped it to go
That's
into
exactly
this.
what I'm referring to right now.
So I mean,
How is it?
It's
uh,
pretty good.
yeah, Gia just did a whole review of it. You can check it out on her channel,
You finished
like,
it already?
or not. Well, not on her channel. You can check it out on Body Snatchers podcast, wherever you get your podcasts from.
Yes.
There's like a whole thing.
Spotify?
I feel it is worth watching, yes. I read the comic books, which they took bits and pieces from to craft the seasons, and I feel like they did a very good job translating it into a TV format, unlike some other comic book hero shows that flew off the rails after, like, you know, season 2. Arrow, Flash, you know.
Yeah, yeah. There are definitely some shows that don't get it right, you know.
You
So
didn't have to say it.
I mean, you know,
I was just coughing. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, you know, just the Rona takes over, and you just start saying random show names.
I know.
You know, it just,
I didn't even know I was saying names. I thought I was just coughing.
yeah. You know, I
Well,
thought
that
she was
our
wheezing.
topic, Arrow and Flash, I believe, fell off the rails.
Yeah, no, they did go off the rails. I think if you watch the first episode, like I think that should be a thing. Taking the first episode and the last episode of like a CW show, and looking how much it went off the rails.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think you could write a dissertation on that. And I think it'd be amazing. But I think that's where we're at. We tied it together. We did it.
Do it
Thank
again,
you.
but make it make sense.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for watching. You can watch. You can find any of us on the names that appear on the screen. Gia can also be found on Body Snatchers. Is it Body Snatchers Media?
It's Body Snatchers Media on Twitch.
Body Snatchers Media on
Other
Twitch. Matt can be found on Mattist_ on both Instagram and Twitter, and you can find me right here, which you might already be watching unless it's uploaded to YouTube later, which
Hey.
would be on Nerds in the Dark.
And excuse my Tourette's about asking people to stop talking to me while I'm streaming. I apologize. I thought I was muting myself, and then I realized it was pulling the audio through my fucking webcam.
You know what? You muted yourself for some of them, and then other ones you didn't. And like I could tell that you I think you double tapped it, and then you were just like, "Er."
Oh no! It 100% like it was muted on my Yeti, but then it was still showing green, and I'm like, crap, what is
Oh,
going on?
no.
And when I checked the input, it was 100% pulling it from my Brio. And I was like, so when I would mute it directly on Discord, it would mute, but if I muted it at my mic, it wasn't muting.
Oh my god. So I'm gonna say this one for Tino when he watches later. You hate to see it.
Right? I could hear you guys pause anytime that I got uppity, and I was just like, crap, they heard me.
We tried not to mention it. But all right, yes. Watch us in any of the other channels that we appear. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye. Hey everybody. Thanks so much for watching today's video. If you like what you see, please let us know somewhere on the internet. If you'd like to keep up to date with Nerds in the Dark content, please subscribe. If you want to watch more videos, please click or tap on the left. If you'd like to see one of our more recent videos, click or tap the video on the right. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time on Nerds in the Dark.